everybody, welcome to Wild Boy Movies, the place to talk movies, and today we're going to be reviewing Toy Story 3, often regarded as one of the best threequels of all time. Right now I'm going to have some information up on screen for you to read, like director, runtime, and PAA rating. All of that will be up on screen for you to read right now. But be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and comment down below your thoughts on Toy Story 3. But without further ado, let's get right in to the pros. Alright, starting off, I gotta go ahead and say that the animation in here is really good in here. That is mainly because by the time this movie came out, 3D animation has really evolved from what it really looked like with the first two Toy Story movies in the mid to late 90s. So it's cool for them to have this upgraded 3D animation that really looks great 15 years after it came out. And yeah, the animation of Toy Story 3 still holds up. And I think this is like the best looking of the Toy Story movies. But it wasn't just the animation here that was really good. It was the story and messaging in here. Starting with like the message, all of the Toy Story movies, at least the first three, have total like a message for like toys and kids playing with them. And in the first one, it was a kid getting a brand new toy. In the second movie, it was a collector selling toys. And here in this third one, it's kids outgrowing their toys once they're older and like ready to go off to college. I felt like that not only was that message done really well, but is definitely accurate based on like my experiences now. Oh yes, I still have plushies behind me, but I consider those collectibles, whether that be the U2s I have, the Build-A-Bear Sonic movie plushies, which hey, I'm still gonna collect them, still waiting for that Amy and Metal Sonic Build-A-Bear for Sonic Movie 4, and I'm hoping to get the Murder Drone plushies of Uzi, N, J, and V. I haven't gotten around to buying them yet, but regardless, I still think that messaging in here is not only factual and accurate based on like my experience, but it's also a really great message to tell in this movie. But also the story in here was also done pretty well. Essentially, it's the toys going to this daycare, Sunnyside, and having to break out and escape to return to Andy. I like that story, and at first the toys think that Andy was gonna throw them out until they realize, oh wait, Andy didn't mean to throw us out. He was actually gonna put us in the attic and not give the toys a motive to escape. And it gave a motive for Woody to return after he learns about Lotso, which we will get to in a bit. But I just really like how they went ahead and told this story. And yeah, I think that daycare setting was pretty good in here and was basically kind of like a horror movie for like toys and what they experience through like toddlers. You also got a pretty good cast in here, most of them returning actors like Tim Allen and Tom Hanks, which again, both of them do a great job as Buzz and Woody respectively. And the other cast members in here also did pretty good, and the characters in here were also pretty well. I will also say the new toys that they introduced that are like Bonnie's toys, is like this dinosaur, unicorn, and a doll. I thought those were pretty good characters in here. But the standout new toy character in this movie was Lotso, who at the beginning you might think is like this innocent, lovable teddy bear that smells like strawberries, but further up into the movie we find out that he is a broken toy. And when I mean that, I don't mean that there are rips and tears in him. I mean that he was accidentally abandoned and replaced, and he came across Sunnyside and basically became a dictator. I'm just gonna say it right there. And yeah, Lotso is pretty much pure evil after being abandoned and basically turned Sunnyside into like this prison. And yeah, that's another thing I gotta praise. This movie is essentially a prison break film with the toys having to escape this daycare and return to Andy. That was also something that I really enjoyed in here, how they turned like this innocent kids movie into like a kid-friendly version of like a prison break film. That was just pretty cool. And you also had this phone character who gave like details to Woody on how to escape, including that monkey. And I ain't talking about this monkey right here from the most recent horror movie from Oscar Perkins. This bucket is also pretty cool, by the way. And also, fun fact, the reason that this monkey has drums instead of cymbals is because Disney copyrighted the cymbal version of the monkey. So that's why the monkey from Neon and Oscar Perkins had to go with drums instead of cymbals. Putting that monkey thing out of the way, I still really like the Prison Breaks part of the movie, and yeah, that was a really cool part of the movie. But going back to like Lotso, he was probably one of the most deranged villains we had in the Toy Story movies. Like going to that infamous incinerator scene, Lotso seemed like that he was gonna help the toys by stopping the conveyor belt that would go down into the incinerator before looking at Woody and saying, "Good luck," and leaving. Like, honestly, Lotso had it coming with being tied up to that garbage truck with some of those other toys that were stuck to that front of the truck. Like, Lotso had it coming. And in fact, let's go ahead and talk about that incinerator scene. That is probably one of the most famous scenes out of like the entire Toy Story 3 movie, maybe even the entire franchise, because it basically felt like that the toys were basically gonna burn to death. And yeah, this is probably one of those moments where if I had like a time machine, I would go back to opening weekend of this movie just to see audiences' reactions to this very scene when they first saw it in theaters. Like, that would be something that I would want to see how people reacted to back then for seeing this exact scene for the first time. But I felt that incinerator scene definitely deserved to be that famous because it had like all the right things. Like the music makes you feel like that this is indeed the end of the toys and they're gonna burn, and all of the toys just accepting their fate. Like that made the scene all that more iconic, even more with like the aliens using that giant garbage claw to save the toys at like the last minute. Like, yeah, that is a pretty great scene right there. And then that leads to like how this movie ended, with Andy deciding to donate all of his toys to one of his neighbors, Bonnie, and saying goodbye, with the toys also saying goodbye with Woody saying, "So long, partner." That right there should have been how the franchise ended, and I honestly agree with people saying that this is the perfect ending to the Toy Story franchise, and we shouldn't have gotten like 4 or 5, but Disney saw dollar signs and they were like, yeah, let's make more and just make people mad, even though we ended this franchise pretty well. But if the Toy Story franchise ended with that third movie 15 years ago, that would have been a perfect ending for the series and would honestly be the perfect ending to a franchise or a trilogy, because they definitely told that story well with like the messaging of kids outgrowing their toys, and yeah, that ending perfect. But it's kind of ruined because it isn't the end of the franchise. But honestly, there are like so many other amazing things that Pixar went in and had with this third Toy Story movie that definitely deserves to be one of the best of the Pixar lineup. And in comparison to like the other Toy Story movies, I think that this movie might be just as good, well, definitely just as good as the first Toy Story, but maybe even better. But I would have to rewatch the first Toy Story to see whether or not I have that statement. But yeah, I still think that Toy Story 3 was a great way to should have ended the series, and definitely deserved its reputation for being the greatest final film and the greatest threequel of all time. Toy Story 3 is a near perfect movie. So for my scorecard, I'm gonna give Toy Story 3 4.5 stars, with the score out of 10 being 9.8 out of 10, with the percentage being 98%, with a grade of A+, with my final verdict being fantastic way to end the series. And like I mentioned over and over again, this isn't the final installment of the Toy Story franchise, because we got 4 in 2019 and 5 next year in 2026. But I want to hear from you guys. What are you guys' thoughts on Toy Story 3? go ahead and leave that down in the comments section. And while you're at it, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video, and have a great day.